Cool. Hello. My name is Daniel, or Dan. I go by either one. And I am one of the writing assistants at the Honors College at Central. And all that means is that I'm here to help you with any writing assistance that you may need, whether it be inside the Honors College or outside. If you have any papers or essays or any writing materials that you want me to look over for either ideas, advice, help, anything, I'm here for you. Send it my way. My inbox is always open, and then my office hours will, of course, be open when I am in them. But I'm looking forward to meeting you all in a couple weeks. But for now, we got this video, so let's get started. So, first lesson of this bridge program is identifying an incomplete sentence and how to fix it. So, a complete sentence needs three elements. It needs a subject, it needs a verb, and it needs to make sense. So, the first thing, a subject. A subject can be three different things. A subject can be a noun, a subject can be a pronoun, or a subject can be a little thing we call a gerund. So firstly, subject noun, a noun. Most people know a noun as a person, place, thing, or idea. That pretty much encapsulates it. So if you think of people, George Washington, a place such as Paris, a thing such as a computer, and an idea such as the revolution, all of those are nouns. People, place, things, or ideas. The second thing that a subject can be is a pronoun. So pronouns are words such as he, him, his, she, her, hers, they, them, their, it, its, all that jazz. They are basically nouns. They just have their own special subcategory called pronouns. They fall under the requirement of a person because all pronouns are people. So we got our first two sentences here, and I'll let you guess what the noun is. So in this first one, we got Bob drove to the store. So I want you to guess which one is the subject. What's the subject here? I'll let you guess. Cool, done. I'm assuming you guessed. We got Bob. Bob is the subject here. Bob is who the sentence is revolving around. So he is the subject. All right, let's look at the second one. After work, she went home. I'll let you guess. I'll assume you guessed. We got she. So she is the subject pronoun here. Again, she is who the subject is revolving around. And then the last thing that a subject can be, we got a noun, a pronoun, and then we got a little thing we call a gerund. And gerunds are a little complicated, but basically what they are verbs that act as a subject in some sentences. These aren't as common as, subject nouns or subject pronouns. Those are like 85 to 90%. Oh, excuse me. 85 to 90% of all subjects are nouns or pronouns, but there are occasions when verbs can be the subject of the sentence. So, a verb is a state of action. So, if you think of things such as running, sleeping, studying, walking, all of those are verbs. So, we got this sentence right here. Running is good. Do we see a noun here? Running, is that a person, place, thing, or idea? Nope. Is not a person, place, thing, or idea. And good is not a person, place, thing, or idea. But we got running, and running is a verb here. And running is what the sentence is all about. Running is the focal point of it. So in this instance, running is the subject, even though it is a verb. We call it a little gerund. But that is a little complicated. You will run into it at times, but it's not as common. But just something to keep an eye out for. If you ever are looking at a sentence and you don't see a noun or a pronoun, but you see a verb that the sentence is focusing or revolving around, it is more than likely the subject of the sentence. But again, it's a little complicated, so feel free to ask me, Professor Martinson, or Kento about it, and we can help you identify if it's a gerund or not. But yeah, that's the first thing, subjects. The second thing that a sentence needs is a verb. So a verb, there are two types of verbs. There are action verbs, which I just said. It's action, such as running, sleeping, walking, all that jazz. And then we got linking verbs. Linking verbs are the more kind of complicated verbs. So what a linking verb is a verb or a word that ties two ideas together. It describes one idea with another. So the 8 most common linking verbs are am, is, are, was, were, be, being, and been. These are called the 8 be verbs. They are the most common, but there are a ton others. If you ever are just wondering, is this a linking verb, you can just Google, is said word a linking verb? So that's a way you can identify it. So let's do an example. We got this question or the sentence right here. Bob is a student. First off, I want you to guess the subject. Cool. Did you guess Bob? You're correct. Bob is the subject. And then we got our verb, which is is. That is a linking verb. It is connecting Bob and student. It is tying those two things together. Um, Another way to think about a linking verb is that it is describing something. So Bob is being described as a student. In this previous sentence, we got running is good. Running is being described as good. Let's look at these first two sentences. We got Bob drove to the store. What is the noun here? I'll assume you guessed. Drove, you drive, that is an action verb. And then after work, she went home. Went here is the verb. Going somewhere is a verb. It is an action. So yeah, congratulations if you got that right. So yeah, we got verbs. We got two types, action verbs and linking verbs. Very last thing that a sentence needs is that it needs to make sense. So what does this mean? If you think about a sentence, you're like, oh, a subject, a verb. Of course it'll make sense, right? Like, how would it not make sense? What we're looking for here is that it's a complete thought and it doesn't leave the reader hanging or with any information that isn't there. So, if you think about a sentence such as this, when night falls, you got a subject, right? Yes. What's the subject? Night. Yep. And then we got the verb here, which is falls. Yep. Congrats if you got that. So, when night falls. But what happens when night falls? Like, did someone die after night fell? Did a bear attack someone after night fell? It just leaves the reader hanging and thinking, what happened when night fell? Like, again, it's not a complete thought, and that's what we're looking for. Does it really just have a complete circle of thought and not leave the reader wanting or guessing about anything else that might happen? So to wrap up, we got those three things. We got it has to have a subject, it has to have a verb, and it has to make sense. So how do you fix this? If you see a sentence without a verb or without a subject, what you do is you just add a subject. So if we look at this sentence right here, ran away from home. Identify the verb. Yep, ran. Yep, that's a verb. It is a state of action. Running is something. But we got no subject. We're wondering who ran away from home. Who is this sentence revolving around? It's not pointing at anybody. Who is running away from home? So in this case, you would just add a subject. So whoever you're talking about, I think the name Bob. So if you added Bob ran away from home, that would then be a complete sentence. The other one, most common, is not making sense. So if we got a sentence such as this one, because she was tall. It's got a subject, right? Yes. Yep, she. That's the subject pronoun. And then if you can guess the verb, I am very impressed here. Yep, it is was. Was is a linking verb. It is tying she and tall. It is describing these two. But it does not make sense, does it? Because she was tall. It doesn't have a complete thought. What happens because she was tall? Did she play basketball because she was tall? Is she reaching the top shelves at Costco because she's tall? Like, what's happening because she's tall, So in this instance, what you would do is that you would have to add a couple more words to describe what is the purpose of she was being tall. So you could say, because she was tall, she played basketball. Or she reached the top shelf at Costco because she was tall. All of those work. You just need to add a little more context if a sentence is not a complete thought. That is all I have. There is a daily writing practice for you all. If you have any questions on those, feel free to email me, Daniel Caldera at CWU.edu. It should be in the Canvas page. But yeah, To wrap up, subject, verb, makes sense. That's all there is to it. Again, any further questions you might have, any further explanations you might want, feel free to email me or drop in on my office hours. That is all I have, and see you in the next one.